Trapping is an American pastime, one of America's oldest traditions that helped drive Western expansion, an immutable characteristic of outdoorsmen across the nation, and one of the most effective methods of wildlife conservation on the planet. This video contains graphic images and may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Howdy folks, Ken Smith here with Dominion Predator Control. You're getting ready to see the inaugural episode of the first season of my new trapping outdoor show called Down the Line. I'm a nuisance trapper in the state of Oklahoma who loves fur trapping and just happens to like making videos. So follow me as we make our way down the line. There should be some good content for everybody and we'll learn a lot along the way. In this first episode, you're going to see some of my early season coyote catches in the cattle pastures of Oklahoma. So without any more introduction, let's get to it. Look at that. Double front footed in a Duke 650 Pro. I'll be a suck egg mule. Look at that. Got him by both. Alright folks. You can see here I've got this Duke 650 set. And I had a possum in this trap yesterday. I caught a bobcat in that trap yesterday just across the 2-track. And a lot of times they say possum remakes don't catch. Well, here's proof. The day after, I got a dirty possum in this cow patty flat set that I had set up. And it's a first night catch on a dirty remake with the possum. So don't let anybody tell you that dirty traps won't catch, because they will. Even when possums get on them. This dog here has got double feet in both feet in that 650 offset there. And it's surprising whenever you get a dog that's that deep in there or that's got 2 feet in, because they're going nowhere and they know it. This is one more calf killer down. This will be the 4th dog I've taken off this property in 5 days, 4 check days. I had 2 yesterday, I had 1 the first day, and then today so far I've got this one. So I'm going to keep on trucking, take care of this dog. I'll show you the remake. Show you how I did it, maybe find that other cow patty around here and set it up the way I did. And I believe this dog was caught on coyote gland lure, my own coyote gland lure, and some good urine after a possum remake. So the possum remakes catch and the Duke 650 slays the dogs. This is my first season running them, and every dog I've caught has been in the Duke 650. All but one, I should say. Get this remake done, take care of this dog, show you how it's done. Those Duke 650s, they bed really, really, really good. The number one thing in trapping is location, and the number 2 thing in trapping is how you bed your trap. You got to have a rock solid bed. If you don't have a rock solid bed in your trap bed, then the coyote will get there, it'll start messing around, and it'll decide to leave once it rocks on them. So you want to make sure you got a good spot for a bed. You want to make sure that nothing's going to move on you. Tap all 4 corners of the trap, make sure it's not moving. If it is moving, do something to fix it. See that right there? That's not going to go anywhere. Jaw doesn't go down, nothing moves. I use antifreeze in the winter to keep the dirt from freezing up. A lot of people don't like this antifreeze. It's called sodium chloride. Calcium chloride is what it's called, not sodium chloride. Anyway, folks don't like it in a lot of cases because it's corrosive. But as you can see, my trap's not dyed. This first year it's been set. I don't dye my traps for the first few years until they've got enough rust on them to hold the dye. And the coyote don't care what color the trap is whenever they get caught in it. So I'm going to kind of offset this a bit. I'm going to put a hole in here, and instead of being right on, I'm going to be offset just a bit. Just a little bit. I've had enough traps where I've got coyote paw prints next to my pans, inside the trap jaws, but not on the pan because it was directly in front of the hole. So now that we've got that trap in place and it's not going anywhere, I'm going to use just a little cupcake liner just to cover the pan a little bit so the dirt doesn't get under the front end of the pan. You can use coffee filters or big cupcake liners, or they use wire mesh. They use all kinds of different things that really work well. But this is just what I use because it's cheap and easy. Cheaper the better when it comes to trapping. So now we've got that going on. We've already got antifreeze down. I'm going to put in dirt. I always bring dirt with me. My own dirt to bed the trap. And then I use the local dirt to cover it. Get enough dirt in there to make sure you can push it off to the sides and get the jaws set. Take everything off the pan. Be careful when you do that. Sometimes these traps like to snap on you. I'm sure undoubtedly I'll make that mistake at some point on video, and I'll show it to you if I do. I do it all the time. Get it kind of leveled out, flat like that, not a big deal. Come back in with a little more antifreeze around the jaws and the levers to make sure they don't freeze in. There's nothing worse than pulling up on a trap with frozen dirt on top of it that's just halfway folded up and couldn't finish closing because those levers are frozen in. And then as soon as you get there and tap on a little bit, it snaps shut. So that dog stepped right in the middle of it and you missed it, or cat, or whatever. Now, local dirt from right here, just to cover that up, get that out of the way. Blend it in real good if you like. This whole area smells like a coyote now, and a possum for that matter. So you just want to make it look as natural as you can. Remember, trap pan's here. I can expose it a little bit so you'll see. And then instead of being directly on it where I want it, I'm either going to go here or here. And since the wind's coming out of the north most days, except for today, we're going to put it on this side, a little more towards the north. I use a stake driver, super stake driver, in order to get this, let's see if that's in the way, in order to get this hole in the ground. I always try and stay about 9 inches away. Little hole in the ground, and just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. It's just a little bit in there. You don't need much. Put a little bit in the hole. Wipe that off. Take you a little bit more, even half of what you just put in there, and put it on the patty or under the patty, whatever you like. And then make sure you get all this covered up, so nothing's exposed, nothing's noticed. You can use dirt clods to kind of guide the dog if you want to. There's a lot of shit hanging around. Hang that around there. Bing bang boom. Put you some good urine on it. And once you've got the urine there, you're set. The trap is done. This set is ready to catch a coyote or anything else that comes along the second it puts its foot on the pan. No questions asked. Got a pretty good trap bed already dug here. It's not all messed up. Animal didn't hang around, so he didn't play with it. Once it went off, it got spooked, it took off. I always holler that out a little bit so I can put my chain in there underneath the trap. Sometimes I pound that chain in. Most of these traps have crunch-proof swivels on them, so you can do that. You can see center of my pan is about 9 inches away. Same thing on this side. I got a hole on this side for lure, hole on this side for lure. Put a little urine on both. You can see that trap bed works real good because that trap's not going anywhere. So just pack in a little bit of dirt here and get your bottom jaws wall built up. Make sure you know it's not going to go anywhere. Cold temps like this, we get down in the 20s at night sometimes. So you got to make sure you use antifreeze. It doesn't take a whole lot. A little bit goes a long way. Put a new pan cover in there. Never know what kind of smells that other animal left behind on it. You want to try and direct the attention away from the trap and to the lure, forcing the coyote to come into a spot. They're going to walk the trail anyway. But this is a trail that runs here, a cattle trail. There's about 10 or 12 of them that all intersect at this gate that's right down here. And you want to get the coyote to pay attention to this and not this. And if you got a bunch of stink on your trap, sometimes that's hard to do, but you put enough stink in those holes, it'll probably overpower it good enough and they won't even know. So at this point, it's like any other trap. I bring dirt from outside that I find in the pastures here, usually mold dirt or something that's been dug up and it's already real fine, I don't have to mess with. Just throw it in a bucket. Even if it's got some moisture in it, as long as you got that antifreeze, it won't matter. It won't freeze up. Like I said, it doesn't take a lot of antifreeze. You just get all that dirt in there around the jaws and then set it in place, knowing nothing's going to go anywhere. A little more antifreeze and then local dirt. Get right on those levers and jaws. Just put it just around the edge of the trap, just a bit. Take as much. When this moisture hits that antifreeze, it'll start to break that antifreeze down and keep that dirt from freezing. A lot of times in sleet, wintry mix around here, whenever I got a trap in that's got this stuff on it, everything around the ground is frozen because of the moisture that's been falling, but you can come over to the trap and blow dust off of it. All that in there. Blend it in real good. Make sure keep them from stepping on the lever, rather on the pan than the lever. Then on the hole here, I got the one there. The other one is right here. Side had wolf gland in it, which I got here. Find you a long piece of grass or stick or something. I like to throw hardwood little sticks in my bucket here. That way you can just use them to apply. The amount of lure that I put on there isn't much. You don't need much. Just put a little bit down that hole. Let it sit there. That hole wasn't touched at all. It didn't have any dirt in it, so it's still got my lure in it. A little bit of good urine right there on the hole. That'll have every animal in the area stopping to find out what's going on. Howdy folks. This is check day number 9 on this set. Well, check day number 6 on this set, but check day number 9 on the ranch. And I'm just remaking sets today because we got rained out 2 of the last 4 days real hardcore, and I decided I'd redo everything and make sure it's operating tip-top shape, so whenever it dries up or freezes, that the mud doesn't keep my traps from working. But I wasn't expecting a coyote today, so this is a huge blessing. I got a 2-track that runs down to a pond way down over here. There's a creek right in there behind it. Animals love to come up through this way. This 2-track has a cattle trails running through it, and there's old fence line here where the barbed wire's all been taken down, but this old gate's still here, and they still use it as the road to get down to that pond. And there's cattle trails running right down the middle of it. And this is a big 160 with 80s on either side of it that are all part of the ranch, and I got a trap in right there that I've got to remake so it doesn't become concrete. But I wasn't expecting any catches today. And pretty good deal. Got this coyote in here by the back foot. Looks like a male. Big male. Some light under fur on it. Still got a little bit of red in it. I'll have to look at it and see whether it's skinnable or not. The coyotes are worth so little these days that you just don't know whether it's putting the time into skin it's going to be worth it. But even if you get a decent coyote with decent fur and you get 15 bucks out of it, it's probably worth it. But this is set. I had no idea I was going to catch anything today. I figured if I had anything, it'd be possums. I didn't figure we'd be catching coyotes, but this is only the 5th trap I've checked. Well, I guess 6th, including that one. I got 2 more down here. I don't see anything bouncing in it. I got 2 more over there. I don't see anything bouncing in it. But I had 32 traps out overnight, and I had to remake them all today. I'm going to add another 4 in to make it 36 and put a dozen in tomorrow. And I'm sure you'll see some of that footage in the videos that I make the rest of the day and tomorrow. But we're going to get this coyote taken care of and get this remade, and I'll show you what the remake looks like so you can see how to put it back together after it's all said and done. But that's a pretty good deal. Praise the Lord. An animal when I didn't expect it. All right, folks. Here's the finished remake. Got a hole in there with those sticks the dog chewed on. Just took some of the dirt and grass and made it the backing. I had a cow patty in here in the first place, but that thing got shredded. But there's a little turd in there, a little bit of urine on everything. And it should produce a pretty good dog. We got another week before we get more rain, so looks like we'll be doing pretty good. Here's the dog. Good looking fur. For Oklahoma anyway. And this is why I started a little early. You can see lead Steinmeier's death ray there. We like to put these dogs down without any kind of blood. And that'll do the job. In this section of my show, it's normally going to be a product highlight. But for this first inaugural episode, I wanted it to be a people highlight. I need to thank a few people and pay respect to some folks that have helped me along the way that have got me to this point. First of all, I want to thank God the Father for sending his son Jesus Christ to die on the cross for the sins of the whole world. Because had I not put my faith on Jesus Christ for 100% of my salvation and been indwelled with the Holy Ghost from God the Father, I don't think I'd be here to do any of this in the first place. Secondly, my wife Chloe has she's done incredible things to help me out over the last 7-8 years to kind of help me along this journey. Supported me the whole way. And if it wasn't for her taking care of me, feeding me, keeping me fed, taking care of the kiddos, making sure everything's taken care of at home so I have the freedom to do what I need to do, I wouldn't be able to put this together for you guys to see. I got some notes here for the folks that I want to show respect to. And whenever it comes to the trappers that have helped me out along the way, there's going to be namely Wayne Derrick from Derrick's Predator Products. And then you got Andy Weiser, who no longer sells lure, but is still a trapper to this day. And then you got Lynn Dunham, a buddy of mine up in Kansas. And if these guys hadn't talked with me on the phone, answered my text messages, answered my emails, and gotten on trapperman.com, the forum, to be able to communicate with me and help me along the way, if these guys hadn't put up with me, I wouldn't have been able to get all this done. A lot of what a lot of my trapping method is emulated from what Andy Weiser taught in his early, his DVDs. He put DVDs out with Mark Steck, and they produced them and put them out, and you can buy them. I believe they're still out there for sale now today. That'd be his Western bobcat trapping and Western coyote trapping. And you'll see that a lot of my methods are basically copies of what Andy did. I've picked up, other pieces and tricks from other people, and I've learned other stuff along the way. But for the most part, that's where most of the trapping theory that I have comes from, and I really respect him for it. He made some great lure. Most of you can't get a hold of anymore, but I still have a little bit of it, and it works really well. You hear me talk about it in the show. Next up, I want to talk about the guys who made TV shows ahead of me that inspired me to make this one. And that would be Robbie Gilbert with his Trappin' Time TV show that I used to just watch on YouTube before it was on TV. And then Brian Flowers with his Fur Life TV show, which is a great show, and I love watching it. And then you've got the guys from Hoosier Trapper Outdoors who have a really great show. Charlie and Justin have, put together, I think they're 15 seasons in or something. And they've got some great shows. They record their stuff like I do the season before, and then they put it out the next season while they're trapping. And I really like what they've all done. Their shows that have came before me have inspired me to get to this point. Then there's some YouTubers that are notable that really need to be talked about, and that would be Trapping with Jinx and Trapper J Outdoors and Mark J Larson Outdoors. Those guys have other shows on YouTube that, have also inspired me to continue to make YouTube videos. I hope to have a lot of good content for you guys and to continue on trucking forward by keeping good content out on YouTube throughout the year, but also putting out a really good show throughout the fall and early winter. So without any more information on who supported me, because there are a ton of people that I can't name, let's get back at it. Well, that's pup number 2 for the day. This one looks like it's having a fit with mange. All the hair on the tail came off while it was struggling. This is one of the reasons why we trap. Don't just trap to get the fur, which we all enjoy. But we also trap in a conservation effort to try and keep the population of coyotes that does exist healthy. Whenever you get large population animals, they tend to get too close together, they get mange, they get other types of diseases and have a lot of die-offs. And then their fur and their parts all go to waste. And since we been given dominion over the critters of this planet, we try and take care of them so they'll always be here to trap. So the tradition of trapping will exist. Well, this is check day 11. Coyote number 8. Last check. Last set location to check for the day. Then I have this coyote sitting here, and the first set I've caught a coyote in that had bait and not a gland lure. Everything else is gland lure. Just about. I had one coyote caught in a flat set that had GH3 in it, some Slim's GH3. But this is the only coyote I've caught on bait. I normally don't run a lot of baited sets because you catch a lot of possums and coons. And but the coyotes have been hitting the gland lure early. So you can see, having a set in here right next to the fence isn't always a good idea if you're fur trapping. Because I've got fur in the fence that came out of that dog. I don't know how much damage that dog took. I'm going to have to take a look at it and find out. But generally, if you're trying to fur trap, you want to try and stay off the fence. This was just a good spot. I put it in here knowing that I'd probably get something off this gate. There's a gate right here leading to a big 320 that comes off of 380s that are in a row. And I've trapped beaver in here, and I've seen coyote tracks all over the place on this gate. So I knew I was only able to trap this one side, and I would put a couple traps in here, and that just seemed like a good spot for a dirt hole. But as you can see, it might have cost me. So be careful if you're fur trapping, being on the gates, and if you're trapping period, sometimes the gates are brittle and old, and if you get a coyote in there that's really feisty, that might bust it open. So this is dog number 8, check day number 11. Lots more to come. All right. This will be dog number 9 and 13 check days. So the catch is down a little bit, but pretty good dog. This dog fell to Wayne Derrick's G-Man Coyote gland and some of his urine. I got another trap just right in over there with a cat foot pull toy on it. But this dog wanted that G-Man Coyote. Decent dog. Probably not a skinner for the way prices are these days, but looks like he's got a couple spots on him. Might have had mange in the past. But I'll get this dog taken care of and move on. I'm got another 14, 18 traps out to check, something like that. And I already saw some coyotes today hanging around some of the sets that I was working, but they weren't caught. It's the middle of, well, almost near the end of gun season here in Oklahoma for deer. So can't really be shooting any coyotes until gun season's over. But it's a good dog. We'll get this set remade. I'll show you the remake. All right, folks. Here's the finished remake. Kind of fixed the trail. You can see the trail comes through. It was pretty filled in with grass from the catch circle, but good shot in here. So my trap is right in here. I got a hole here and a hole here, a little bit of glandler in it, another hole over here. And I just used the same thing I had on it, G-Man Coyote gland and some of Wayne's urine on both sides. And it'll be hard for them to know there's a trap in there. You run the chance of catching something coming up this trail and coming right here and possibly just getting hit with a trail set, but with those smells there, whatever comes by is probably going to stop and sniff it, which is going to give me a good chance to get a good catch. Coyote here, decent looking coyote. I'd said it was a male, but I was wrong. It looks like it's a female. It's just such a big dog. I rarely see females that big, so it's a good female. I'll probably go ahead and skin her just for fun. This is check day number 14. This is dog number 10. Got a 550 in the ground there. This was a dirt hole that had a little bit of cooking oil and some Casey Payne's High Lonesome in it. The Casey Payne lures are owned by Cletus Richards. If you want to get a hold of him, you can go to Apple Road Bait. Check his stuff out. He's got some good stuff, including his own. I had 2 sets here by this pond that they just redug because everything went dry in these pastures. And there's a little trail here that was cut leading right up to this post here. And I had another set in here, as you can see. Little flat set that I had with a bone in it. Some wolf gland lure and some coyote number 1, some of my lure in there. And this animal looks like he dug it up. Yesterday these traps were fine when I came through and checked them, but this trap here had an extra scat in it, one of these dogs will come through and taking a turd right there near the set, right next to the trap, but didn't get caught. And then today I get here and I got this dog after he worked the set. So you can see here that 550 had that dog all the way in it. So 550 is a really good trap. 5.5 inches are great for dogs. They work good for cats. And they'll hold most of your coons. Notice that the 650s that I got, they'll hold dogs great and they'll hold cats great. But those Duke 650s, you barely never find a coon. You just find a trap where a coon chewed out. It's holding the skunks pretty good. It's a little too big, I think, for the skunks to always get around it, especially the smaller ones. But the decent sized coons have the ability to get around it, get their face inside the jaw after it's closed up, and chew themselves out. So you're not catching a lot of coons in those 650s, but these 550s hold both coon, dog, and cats. And you know, this was a basic dirt hole. It was I made it pretty messy with dirt, but I had a trap set in there like I normally do, just a little bit offset, with a single dirt hole in it and a little bit of high lonesome in it, and then just maybe 2 ounces of cooking oil, used cooking oil. And the dogs really like to dig in dirt holes whenever there's cooking oil in it. There's a lot of people that make a lot of good bait, and you can catch dogs on bait, but I normally don't use dirt holes and bait. I normally use flat sets and post sets and things of that nature because they're just more effective for me. But a dirt hole can be effective too, and if your dirt hole's got cooking oil in it, those dogs are going to dig. It doesn't matter whether they're hungry or not, they're going to dig. I'm not sure why that is. A few years back I took 2 of my own baits, 2 of the professional baits that I bought, cooking oil and catfish balls, catfish bait, and Bill's catfish bait. So that's 7 different baits. I dug holes about 30, 40 feet apart in a big pasture that I knew had a lot of dogs, and I went and checked them every day for a week. And the catfish bait, not the Bill's catfish bait, but the catfish balls, the regular stuff that you get at Walmart, and the cooking oil got the most attraction. Those dogs dug out every single area around those holes the entire time. It really does work. So we're going to get this dog taken care of. We're going to get this set remade, and we're going to move on. I've only checked about 10 or 12 traps so far out of the 44, so we got more dogs coming, I'm sure. It was a good night. The wind wasn't too bad, and it was really nice and cold, so everything was moving a little bit, I think. So I'll get this taken care of, and we'll get back whenever we get some more. All right, folks, here's the finished set. This is the dirt hole. My trap there right in front of it. A little bit of high lonesome in it. Not as flashy as it was before. There's a big catch circle with a lot of stink in it. So that's gonna bring him in. It's in the trail set that I had to refix. You can see it in here. Blended in pretty decent. And it's deadly. It's got my Coyote #1 gland lure and some of Andy Weiser's wolf gland lure. So this is gonna be an active area. Always see a lot of coyotes around here, so we'll keep moving on, and we'll get back at you soon. Well, we got us another dog in this set. It's a good location. Cattle trail meets with a old 2-track that leads down to a big pond. And there was a fence here. This 160 was split in half, and they took the fence down, but they didn't take the gate out. So it still uses a 2-track right through here. And I got a couple of sets in right here and a couple of sets down there closer to the pond that I've yet to check. You can see I already had 1 catch in this trap. There was a pretty decent catch circle here. It was pretty dug up, but this dog spent a lot of time throwing dirt overnight. And this is check day 18. and I went 3 days in a row where I didn't catch a dog. I got 48 traps on the ground. All I caught was coons and possums and skunks. And the skunks are worth it, so that's a good thing. But this is dog number 11. It looks like a little bit older male. Not too old, he's still got his teeth, but he's got a little gray in his face. And it's not a horrible dog, but it's a typical Oklahoma Coyote, so not a really good one, not a really horrible one. I'll have to look him over and see if I'm going to skin him or not. But that's that Duke 650 offset right there. And it holds those dogs real good. They can't get out of it, I know that. The coons try to work their way out of it, but the dogs it holds. So we're gonna get this dog taken care of and move on down the line and see if there's anything else out here, and if not, it is what it is. We'll just keep on trucking, keep on making sets, and over the next week or two, we're gonna get some real good catches, and come January, we're gonna start slaying cats, so that'll be a good time. Well, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching. This show was a really big hurdle for me to be able to record everything throughout the season, get the information and knowledge I needed to be able to produce this show for you, and I couldn't have done it on my own. Though I did put it together on my own, it was with the support and help of everybody else that helped me get here. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time on Down the Line, and until then, Dominion out.